The Politics podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/JURY. Why? Because we are at damn near $800. Man, this is a monumental occurrence. That means that we are definitely doing the In Your House tour. I have narrowed down. If you are a patron, go to your email because I think we've selected our cities. I got to nail it down before we announce them for sure, but I have some tentative dates, some tentative cities if you're a patron. If not, then go ahead and join the team. The next person who gives $1 will be the person who gives us 800, which is going to be insane. And beyond that, what we need to understand is that I will be live and in someone's house to do this very show coming up in the next few weeks. That's a question mark. Also buy stickers or DIAF. You want to buy stickers? We got stickers here for you. Let's go ahead and take a look. What's in the pack here right now? Well, we got the Jury Spearmint Nitrate head, the Jury logo for the podcast in the Dare style, Please Don't Die. We've got our Politics logo art, our I Got a Robot Face Bro, and, in my opinion, the cream of the crop, that is our Knife Fight Captain Morgan original art by Spearmint Nitrate. This is never before seen in a cartoon. It was made specifically for stickers or DIAF. Go ahead and check out the $5 sticker packs right now at stickers or DIAF.com. And by the contender, the Game of Presidential Debate 2016, the expansions are out. We got Played by Beer and Board Game this week. Find out why the world is talking about the contender. Thecontender.us. A lot of fun stuff coming up with the contender coming up. Go ahead and get in on it right now by picking up the game and the 2016 expansion. But enough about the show. Let's go ahead and actually do the show, huh?
Politics.
Come on now. Politics. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Politics program. My name is Justin Robert Young. I will be your humble host through the week that was and will be in political theater. We're in a bit of a weird place. We're going to start with Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton's in a bit of a precarious position because she is simultaneously the most secure she'd ever been and the most in peril from two different fronts. Number one, she has her credibility being assailed on the daily by Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders and his increasingly recalcitrant supporters seem to be pushing harder and harder and harder on Hillary. This is buoyed by the fact that Bernie Sanders has apparently very little quit in him. And I don't know where people think he should have the quit in him. Now, I have been very vocal on this show about when it would make sense for him to leave, right? But at the end of the day, yeah, that's up to him, dude. And I don't know why anyone would be surprised that there's no... I mean, this is a dude who was a part of the Democratic Party 5 minutes ago. In fact, the only person that he seems really excited about fundraising for is the person who's running a congressional race in my old home district in South Florida. Well, you're asking yourself, is it because he's heard of the Politics program? Is it because he wants to bring change to my old hometown so he could curry favor with me? No, that's not true, and it's ridiculous that you would think that. What is true is that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is running for her seat. And she has a little bit of a insurgency within her own primary. Now, why would Debbie Wasserman Schultz be in Bernie Sanders' crosshairs? because Debbie Wasserman Schultz also runs the Democratic National Committee. And Bernie Sanders has a bee in his bonnet when it comes to the DNC. In fact, you might say that he has a beef against those who run DNC. Sorry. But he does. He's got a beef, man. He's got a real major beef. And in fact, that's apparently the reason why he's still in this here this here election, right? Like, he wants to change the way that things are done. And the rumor is, right, if you just read the internet, that the more aggressive tone that he has shown recently is not because he has people in his ear. Quite the contrary. Apparently the reason Bernie Sanders has been so hopping mad like Yosemite Sam is because his advisors have said, hey, what if we left this thing alone? What if we just kind of wound this thing down? Hey, great game. GG, everybody. GG. We're all now going to get way better jobs because we took this campaign farther than we were probably expected to. So net positive for everybody. Let's go ahead and, hit the bar. 9, says Bernie. Bernie says, no. I'm going to go ham. I'm going to go ham on this B. This is going to be some for real. I'm not dropping it. I'm going to go harder. I'm going to talk more about how, guess what? Oops, I ruined your summer. Oops, this thing's going to go to the convention. Oops, this is going to be messy. That's an odd attitude. You don't see that attitude a lot on any primary, right? Although in this particular political season, strange things happening in the primary, it's a very long list, man. I don't even think that cracks the top 5. So combine that with the fact that now California's primary matters about as much as it has in forever. Now, it doesn't actually matter all that much. Even if Bernie Sanders were to win outright, he would need to, kill Hillary Clinton in a landslide to really start to make up the delegate loss. And that's even on the contingent that he would beat her in pledged delegates, for which he's very far behind now, and then would have to convince all the currently pledged to Hillary's superdelegates to do the flip. But it's enough to excite the home crowd. It's enough to get people out to these gigantic rallies, and enough for people to think, hey, look, I want to tell my friend that they got to get their voting registration in. They got to go ahead and switch their affiliation. If they're independent, they got to be Democrat if they want to vote for Bernie. Now, we're going to get into exactly how close he is there in a little bit, but I just want to illustrate you. There's Hillary Clinton on the credibility side being attacked. On the other side, with her most likely general election opponent, I mean, her actual, not most likely. I mean, I don't know. I guess he could get hit by a meteor or something. Donald Trump continues to do some very un-Donald Trump-like things. He continues to unite the party. He apparently has been having a series of pleasant phone calls with Paul Ryan. He tweets this week, polls show that nobody can hold on to Marco Rubio's Senate seat like Marco Rubio. Run, Marco, run. Donald Trump making an unsolicited push to Marco Rubio to run. Because apparently Trump just thinks he's a swell guy. This has got to be driving Rubio insane, by the way. And we're going to get into that in a second as well. So Trump continues to be Trump. And then this happens. Bernie and Trump are both on Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, by the way, a brilliant late night host, especially when it comes to the big shtick, the big bits. You can tell that dude came out of radio because he has got a shticky, bitty, like thought process, and he's brilliant at it. It's great. They're compelling. But he says to Trump, "Hey, what if you debated Bernie?" Donald Trump, as he is wont to do, thinks about it for about a millisecond and then says, "Yeah, bring him on. I'll debate anybody." As Ted Cruz quietly pulls all of his hair out. "Debate anyone," he says. "Debate anyone," he says. Ah! I don't blame him. He says, "I'll debate anybody. I'll debate Bernie." Bernie Sanders is on the next day on Jimmy Kimmel. Says, "Hey, man, Trump says he'll debate you." Bernie Sanders says, "Well, I'll debate him. I don't believe Bernie Sanders." This continues to go on and on. They go back and forth. Trump says, "Oh, hell yeah. You want to know what? We debate each other. All the money goes to women's health." I'll tell you, man, I don't want to read too much into this. And it is callow and self-serving, i.e. all the things I love about politics. But Donald Trump's got he's got a little swag right now. Because that's the only thing better for him to do, to say, "Hey, I want to do this big attention-grabbing thing that completely cuts the nuts off my my likely general election opponent." I want to give all the money we can make on it to women's health. Obviously going to be a sore spot for him if he needs to make up his likability with women voters. Women voters in general don't like him. The only thing that would be better is if he said, "Yes, I want to give it to these following African American women and Hispanic causes." That's what I want to do. Also, I'm just going to mail $100 to Jezebel.com. That's what I'm just going to be spreading money around. Who hates me? You want some money? I'm Donald Trump. LOL. So now this goes back and forth. It doesn't ultimately matter that Trump backed out earlier today. What matters is that Trump got about 4 days in the spotlight with Bernie Sanders in a way that blew Hillary Clinton off the page. Blew Hillary Clinton out of the consciousness. Blew Hillary Clinton out of your mind share. And that's pretty much all we're going to talk about Hillary Clinton. I have nothing else to talk about Hillary Clinton. Like, there's just, unless we want to get, there's the ever creeping drip, drip, drip of information about the email investigation. We got a couple funny emails. Apparently Hillary wanted to know when The Good Wife was on television. She couldn't Google. She was just asking her assistant, like, not even to record it. She was also very particular about the kind of milk that she got in her morning tea. Fun things that we can learn from Hillary Clinton. But that's about it. She's not capable or interesting right now. And again, this is not about her wider ideas. This isn't about how she, who she is as a human, whatever. Yeah, we don't care about that on this show. We care about the chess. We care about the machinations. We care about why is each move being made. And Hillary right now is saying, I'm just going to win California. That'll be enough of a dagger that I can just start looking forward. And what she wants to do is make Bernie look like man yells at clouds for as long as she can, as publicly as she can, leading into the convention. Ultimately, it would be best if she could talk Bernie into saying, hey, listen, what's it going to take for you to lay down? Because I'm going to need that right now. But save that, she's got to wait till after California. But that's a rough patch for her. And it's a rough patch for the fact that, man, we got some tightening polls. We got, I mean, this is in terms of the nationwide polls, which, again, are a little flawed this early, including the fact that Trump is doing un-Trump-like things, like being a uniter, not a divider. And she is currently embroiled in an unexpectedly heated final act of the Democratic primary process. But you can't ignore the fact that this is going to be a closer election than we thought. At least now. It has the possibility to be that. But let's get back to somebody that I mentioned here in my little intro. And that is Marco Rubio. Man, that guy's on Twitter. Marco's on Twitter. Hey, Marco, what you doing? Nothing. Just hanging out on Twitter. Came back. Big thunderous return on Twitter when he decided to light up Washington Post and I believe Politico for their reports that he was thinking about running for Senate. He said unequivocally, how many times do I got to say it? I'm going to be a private citizen. Made some self-depreciating jokes about how, obviously this precludes me to ever run for president again because who has ever heard of a private citizen succeeding in running for president? LOL, LOL, Donald Trump, LOL. But then he comes back today because he made some overtures about how he was going to eventually support Trump. He basically said that, he's going to support Trump and not allow Hillary Clinton to get into the White House. But it is the manner in which he is doing it which makes me so happy. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Tom Nichols says, in responding to Marco Rubio's tweets, the best thing now, if only thinking for what's best for me, but spend a year saying hashtag never Hillary and then tell them to stay home and let her win, ? So basically, he's like, listen, I'm in a rough spot, okay? Because I ran against Trump, and I ran against Trump hard. I had a lot of people believe in me. I had a lot of people spend money on me. I had a lot of people quit their jobs and make large, substantial bets on me. And it turns out I came up snake eyes. So I feel really, 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 really bad. But at the end of the day, what am I really going to do? Like, what am I really, really going to do? Am I going to say, yes, please elect Hillary Clinton? Is that going to look good for me going forward? Is that a thing that I should be spending time on? No, of course not. So he decides to reframe it and say, hey, listen, yeah, I said never Trump, or I was a part of the never Trump, or I was a conduit for people saying never Trump. But really, before I was never Trump, I was never Hillary. Because that's why I decided to run for president, was to keep her from the Oval Office. So now I'm in a bit of a pickle. Do I say support the person that I clearly loathe and keep her out of the office? Or do I help to sabotage, possibly successfully, possibly unsuccessfully, a Republican president? And now I'm a traitor to my own people, to my own party, the one that I probably plan on being involved with going forward. So Tom Nichols, who I believe is a radio host, says, yes, Senator, if that's what it takes to stop Trump, and as awful as she is, it's for the good of the country. Basically saying that, no, you said you hated Donald Trump. That means that you need to stick to it Hillary Clinton is terrible, but it's better than having Donald Trump in there. So Marco Rubio says back, if that's the conclusion you reach, I respect it, but after 8 years of Obama, 4 years of Clinton is too much for me. So he's just deciding to get out here in these streets and just talk to people. So then people start to get really annoyed by how much he's tweeting. It's like that feeling you get when Marco Rubio notifications are turned on and he's blowing up your phone. My bad. Sorry. Having fun. Okay. It's pretty good. But it's at this point that we might be in a when keeping it real goes wrong moment for Marco Rubio. Because now people start coming harder at him. Where do you get off? Donald Trump's the worst. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the force, not destroy it. So people start coming at him. Additionally, Trump advocated for his own brand of government-paid health care, arguably worse than the Affordable Care Act. Marco Rubio. I know. I was standing right next to him on the debate stage. Marco Rubio is like, oh, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite. Trump's awful. Trump's awful. He's like, I know. Hey, do me a favor. Hands up if you ran against him and you're reading this on Twitter. If your name's not Scott Walker, then put your goddamn hand down. I'm Marco Rubio. Jay Caruso on Twitter says, people who don't want Hillary to win should have thought about that before they aligned themselves with Trump. I ran against him. Remember? I tried. He is so annoyed, and I don't blame him. I don't see how anybody could possibly blame Marco Rubio for being really annoyed right now. Somebody writes in again. Zach Brown writes to Marco Rubio. Hey, Marco Rubio. Remember in Iowa when we met and I said we shared the same birthday? Well, we still do. What are you going to do tomorrow to celebrate? Marco Rubio responds, I think I'll tweet all day. How many tweets do I need before it's considered a Twitter rant? Man, he might be running out. He might be running out of Fs, man. Someone check Marco Rubio's Fs. Make sure he's got enough, because I think he might be running out, dude. Ben Sharp writes, already back on the Never Trump train? Marco Rubio says, you know I wanted to win, don't you? I did not want us to be in this place. I tried. The voters chose different. Marco Rubio is just literally, Marco, come on, listen. You were my senator, okay? I feel like you need to listen to me. You're no longer my senator, but I feel like I just need to talk to you right now. If you are listening to the sound of my voice, I am begging you, just drop the pretense. We are in a new age of what kind of speech is allowed. You are allowed to show emotion. I think this is a very, very, very good way for you to start. But I just need you to hit these people, which is one tweet. You just need to hit them with a raise. I need you to raise up off my nuts. I need you to raise up off my nuts. Because that's basically what he's saying. He's like, dude, okay, whatever you might think, I ran against the dude. I was out shaking hands. Do you know how many terrible hamburgers I had to eat? Because it was this county's famous egg on a steak fajita burger. So many of them. I had to shake so many people's hands. Man, I had to smell Sheldon Adelson's breath and then act like he was a really awesome dude so he would give me money. Do you know how annoying that is? I tried my hardest to run against Trump. I stabbed somebody that vouched for me and Jeb Bush right in the heart on live television. And then I leaned down and drank his blood so you could see his defeated visage on my face. I tried to stop Trump. I did a little bit more than tweeting about it. I failed. And now I'm tweeting about it. So I need you to raise up off my nuts. He needs to raise up off my nuts. I'm with you, Marco. Man, there's I can't imagine how frustrating that is. Meanwhile, back in Trump Town, we had a little bit of a kerfuffle. It now became the feedback loop in the media is that Trump loves to do this thing, right? Trump loves to do, hey, well, all right, here. Let me walk this back 2 sentences. Trump talks on the record like most people talk off the record. God knows what he sounds like off the record. My suspicion is probably nicer than he sounds on the record. But he talks on the record like people talk off the record. So just to give you a sense, in the journalistic reporter parlance, you sit down with somebody. You wind up building up a little bit of a rapport with them. And so you play this little game. The source wants to get a certain amount of news out. To do that, they will pay the cost of answering a few questions that they might either not want to answer or just, are more than they would like to volunteer, right? But they'll answer the question. Then, clicker goes off. You can talk off the record. If you're a reporter, off-the-record conversations are incredibly important because it allows you to kind of get a credible yet unprintable lead that you can then find proof for other places. So, for example, if in a story of corruption, business corruption, somebody tells you, off the record, they embezzled all the money and they spent it on one trip in late May to Aruba. You then try to track down all that money because you know where to look for it. But you never say that the first person who told you that. You just report it elsewise. So Donald Trump says about Vince Foster, a lot of people would like me to bring up Vince Foster, but I won't. Now, off the record, that's a fairly standard thing. It's a crazy idea that you would bring up Vince Foster against Hillary Clinton in a election in 2016, but it's something that would be appropriate there. The reason why it's inappropriate on the record is because in saying I won't bring up Vince Foster, you just brought up Vince Foster. I want to remind you, the politics faithful, that I have foreseen all of this. When Trump secured the nomination after Indiana, I told you, man, it's going to be the season of hate. And I told you he would bring up Vince Foster. I got a few more things that he's going to bring up, by the way. He also casually mentioned, and in a fairly crazy Instagram commercial, welcome to 2016, presidential candidate Donald Trump's controversial Instagram commercial, brought up the troubling history of Bill Clinton and his sexual dalliances, specifically the fact that Bill Clinton has been accused of rape, or people have said that Bill Clinton raped them. So, this becomes a media feedback loop. Oh, he mentioned it, but he didn't mention it, and this is this is terrible. And Jake Tapper does a whole thing about how Vince Foster's murder. I'm not even going to go into Vince Foster. Just Google Vince Foster, Wikipedia, whatever. The idea was Vince Foster killed himself in a public park. However, the conspiratorial rumor at the time was that the Clintons had him killed because he was a cog in the Whitewater investigation. This has long since been looked into, and no foul play was found. But it hangs around because the Clintons have so many scandals, they have so many little blips on the radar, that even the discredited things tend to just sort of hang in the orbit of Clinton scandalry. But I don't want to necessarily get into, how Donald Trump is bad or good or setting a bad example or a good example. He's Donald Trump. I feel like we've gone over this 1.5 million times. He's a loose cannon. There's a chance he'll apologize for the Vince Foster thing in 2 weeks. There's a chance that he'll double down on it and says that he has brand new proof that he can't show you because it's in this invisible envelope. Who knows, right? Doesn't matter. Let's just go over, real quick, Clinton scandals that have been brought up already. Vince Foster, Juanita Broderick, the Hillary Clinton's emails, and the Clinton Foundation allegedly being used as a pay-for-play operation where foreign dignitaries would give money to the Clinton Foundation and Hillary, as Secretary of State, would then, give more favorable attention to countries that paid money to the Clinton Foundation. Now, I ain't here to tell you any of these are right or wrong, right? I'm just telling you what has been brought up so far. By the way, you want an interesting piece of reading that is hilariously anti-Clinton, check out Christopher Hitchens's No One Left to Lie To, which he wrote when he was still a darling of the left. This is pre-9/11. But what haven't we touched yet? What haven't we touched? Now, I'm just going to let you know that one day you're going to be sitting on your couch and you're going to feel a slight sting. That's your Twitter feed effing with you. And in that moment, when you read that Twitter information, you're going to say to yourself, Jerry was right. Because I'm going to tell you right now, things that Donald Trump will bring up. The Arkansas State Trooper scandal. The Arkansas State Trooper scandal. This is like straight out of 92, right? This is MC Hammer starter jacket 92, right? Apparently, when Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas, he used state troopers to basically transport women back and forth to him. Some of which may or may not have been hookers. State trooper scandal. Someone's going to bring this up. Trump will bring up the state trooper scandal. Whitewater. Whitewater, something else that has been kind of brought up, but has not been explored as much as I believe it will be in 2016. And by the way, somebody very central to the Whitewater investigation now has a whole lot of time on his hands. Because there was a name in the news this week that made me smile. Not because of the situation he was involved in. That's horrifying. I am referring to, of course, the Baylor athletic program. Now, listen, this is politics, not college sports. Why do we care about the Baylor athletic program? Well, that little school out of Waco, Texas got themselves in a heap of trouble because they were apparently found to have been systemically knocking down sexual abuse claims for the benefit of football players. That means that their coach had to go, Art Briles, but also their president. The president of Baylor. And who is the president of Baylor? None other than Kenneth Starr himself. Yes! Ken Starr, the Starr Report, the one who was investigating Whitewater and then turned it into a conversation about Bill Clinton getting his Johnson polished in the Oval Office by Monica Lewinsky, releases the Starr Report, leads to the proof that Bill Clinton lied under oath, which winds up getting him impeached. Oh, man. Ken Starr. Well, now he's out of a job, right? Donald Trump, man. Donald Trump should call him up. Ken Starr. It's like, hey, listen, I just need you to just be on TV talking about your time. You know, I just need you. Do me a favor. You still got all those files? I need you to turn over. You still got that old hard drive? I need you to turn over all that. Because we're going back, way back into time. But before we go back in time, we got to deal with the here and now. There was a big old primary in California on June 7th. Be nice to know where everybody stands on that. Oh yeah, baby, we tried. We tried to do new music. Never fit. So we got to go back, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead and slap on your Dracarn or pool your money for the limo, because this is a...
On the floor if you got that booty.
PPIC poll for California on the Democratic primary side. The date from the 13th to the 22nd, 552 likely Democratic voters, a margin of error of 5.7. Oh, wait, this is the wrong thing. Oh, wow, this is actually even more interesting. Wait, no, this is not for the Democratic primary. Oh, no, it is for the Democratic primary. Here we go. In second place. Welcome him to the stage. He might have creaky hips, but he can still dip that dip. Ladies and gentlemen, the senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders, with 44%. The number one headliner, however, making her way to the stage right now. She's got a pantsuit that just won't quit. Hillary Clinton. 46%. What? 46%. What? 46%. Well, that's only two above Bernie. 46% to 44%. Clinton up 2. What was the margin of error? The margin of error was 5.7. That's a pretty big margin of error. It is. Now, ultimately, again, it doesn't matter if Bernie beats Hillary by 3 points. He'll win, right? But it does not matter for what is they're actually doing. They're trying to get delegates to then go to the convention and win, right? He won't have won by enough. However, winning California very much puts his case that he wants to lay around until the convention. It bolsters that. And it takes Hillary's eye off the ball for another few months. This is a very interesting situation. And also, man, call Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan, because it's Freaky Friday up in this bitch. Like, wasn't it like it was a month ago that the Republican Party was tearing their eyeballs out of their sockets and playing beer pong with them? And now, here we are. Civil war on the Democratic side. And seemingly for nothing. At some point, it's going to get more acrimonious than it is right now if Bernie Sanders keeps staying in there. Because as soon as you start to see some key states doing polling where Hillary's really losing, then, you know, they're going to get angry with Bernie. I mean, Hillary's probably already angry with Bernie. The DNC's already angry with Bernie. More people will get angry with Bernie. This is going to be brother against brother. Never will the Starbucks have been so divided. The Daily Kos commentariat. Oh, it'll be their own bloodbath. Oh, jeez. Let's move into your emails. You can email me politics in the subject line. Justin Robert Young at Gmail is the email for that. Justin writes, can we talk about the real political upset from last week? Yara Greyjoy ran on an identity platform in what was clearly a policy-focused election cycle. I'll tell you what, I couldn't agree with you more. She needed to come with a clear plan. There was no plan there. It was all identity. Justin nailed it. Join us next week on my new podcast, Kingsmoot. Scale writes, going on whether or not Trump, or what Hearthstone decks each of the supporters are. Trump is playing Cthulhu. His supporters as a whole are the Cthulhu cards itself. The strategy has survived, punching as hard as hell through the GOP's crappy minions and raging his supporters as much as possible so that when the general election happens, you draw a Cthulhu and he can deal lethal damage just by dropping the big-eyed tentacle monster on the board. Sanders is doing the same thing. He's just got a crappy deck. Who can blame him, though? He didn't have as much money to spend on card packs. He just really needed a Brand's bronze beard, and all he had was a Sarah Silverman. Oh, geez, another Silverman? I don't even get much dust from those things. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't kick Sarah Silverman out of my deck, but she's no Brand Bronzebeard. Now, I know what you're saying. Trump doesn't have to have a Brand Bronzebeard either. But he didn't need one. He changed the rules of the game. How? Every single one of his cards has Taunt and Divine Shield. Every single one. You might call that cheating. Sure, if you like. Whatever. Trump doesn't care. Taunt. Divine Shield. Keep building that Cthulhu. We're at 10-10 mana. Passing turns until the general. He's just waiting for that Cthulhu. As for Hillary, I don't know. I think she's playing at I think she's still playing MTGO, which is Magic the Gathering Online. She thinks she's a tournament winner, but everyone's playing a different game these days. But MTG is a better game. It's what we've always played. Keep up that attitude and you'll lose, Hillary. Just saying. It's a different game with different cards, and you might have an awesome MTG, but that doesn't get the viewers on Twitch. And enough with the pantsuits. I know you're a lizard person. Stop the act and admit it. Benghazi was just a smokescreen for your lizard-human hybrid breeding program. Confess, traitor, confess. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Scale, you to bomb. You to bomb. The more unhinged these emails get, the better I like them. Glenn writes, this is Glenn from Canada here, just sending a message regarding how right I think you are about Trump. And just how this whole elbowgate thing, if you missed last week, we talked about Justin Trudeau elbowing somebody, and apparently now it's a huge thing in Canada. I do think he can win, and the reason for that is I think he's tapping into a massive cultural rebellion against moralistic grandstanding and strict us versus them social designations. One thing is clear is that the Trump campaign is providing is a sense of community and catharsis that can be hard to come by when one is labeled as perpetually an outsider and, most importantly, a massive middle finger to the in-group establishment. Now, I don't support Trump for a number of reasons, but you have to respect the elements that he has formed around the campaign. Same as the Sanders campaign, to be honest. And I have no doubt that it's possible that these social trends could result in a President Trump come January. The whole Trudeau thing, along the same vein, is a good example of the level of stupid, pointless, often extremely hypocritical, moral grandstanding resulting, either accidentally or by design, in strong, clear differentials between us and them. Well, I can tell you, at least in my neck of the woods, that backfired, with many people I know who are habitual NDP voters, the further left opposition party, making most of the complaints, claiming that they're done supporting the party. Weirdly enough, it's Trudeau's Liberals who were known for that sort of moralistic grandstanding previously. People are increasingly tired of that dynamic, and as Trump, who again represents a big middle finger to that dynamic, versus Clinton, who in many ways is iconic of that dynamic, well, even though I think structurally Democrats have an overwhelming advantage in terms of the Electoral College right now, this could break that. Anyway, thank you for the great show and for facilitating a great community. Well, I thank you, Glenn, and I stand on guard for thee. A different Glenn wrote, like a lot of parents, I just can't say enough about my kids. A lot of them can be filed under kids say the darndest things, but this is one of its own in our little political commentary. Kids can be the barometer of your local social microclimate. It's uncanny how they pick up the zeitgeist and sincerely express it when they play. Last weekend, I was at the Cub Scout compound with my kids, and they were all having fun. I started hearing shouting from kids all around the campsite. Republican, Republican from one direction. Democratic from another. Democratic's over here. The game continued, but later I had to ask what they were playing. Now, I don't want to quote this verbatim from the 10-year-old I asked. Keep in mind that his delivery was so matter-of-fact, so unself-conscious, so lacking in any sense of snark or irony that it only perfected the too-on-the-nose description. So, it's like playing zombie tag. One person starts off as Donald Trump and tags people Republican. It keeps going until everyone is Republican and we all lose. Oh, did I mention that this scout pack is from Berkeley? I asked who taught him the game, and he said that he picked it up from the kindergartners at school. That is simply precious.
Politics, 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 politics.
JustinRobertYoung at gmail.com. Put politics in the subject line. You can buy The Contender at thecontender.us. Music provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. And follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere, including Snapchat. Man, I finally figured out my Snapchat. Follow me there. I will see y'all next week.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.